What protein you take, bro? Um, it seems like a lot of the time, like more often than I get asked about training and diet, I get asked about what supplements I take. I'm sure that's the case for a lot of you guys out there. Um, I think if you look a certain way, most people are going to ask you uh, for advice or just kind of what you do. And it's kind of messed up that they ask you more often about supplements than your diet and training, because it's sort of like people believe that your supplementation is more important, or it can somehow compensate for your diet and training. I mean, that's just not true. So as sort of a disclaimer before getting into my supplement stack, I kind of have to say that supplements do make a little bit of a difference and they do help. But if your diet and training isn't exactly where it needs to be, then you better take out the time and put in the effort to educate yourself as far as diet and training goes, and implement that knowledge consistently before you even think about spending money on supplements. Because realistically, if your training and diet isn't perfect and you're spending a bunch of money on supplements, and you're kind of just wasting your money. But then again, it's your money, you can do whatever you want with it. I guess let's get into my supplements. First one, the one that everybody always asks about, is whey protein, right? So I take Optimum Nutrition 100% Gold Standard Whey, and the reason I take this, well, this is a 12-pound bag. I buy it in a bag just because it's cheaper if you buy it in a bag. I think it's like $100 from bodybuilder.com for a 12-pound bag. That sounds like a lot of money, but you have to consider that like a 5-pound tub is, I think, $55 to $60. Then like a 2-pound is like $30. So it becomes cheaper as you buy more of it. And I mean, I'm eventually gonna go through this whole bag, so it's worth it. And as far as whey protein goes, really, you guys can get whatever you want. I would just say that if it's a fairly unknown brand, or if it's a really small company, you might want to stay away from it, just because quality control does make a lot of a difference, especially in things that have multiple ingredients. So if you notice, like, most of the companies will have a protein blend with whey protein isolate and whey protein concentrate. And it's just sort of like the balance of the both that you get. Like, you might get more in one bag than you do in the next bag. And I mean, that sort of deviation is probably smaller in a bigger company with better quality control than it is with a smaller company that doesn't care as much about the sort of deviation. But I mean, like I said, protein is protein as long as you hit your numbers right. It shouldn't make too much of a difference. And I mean, all protein really is sort of a tool to help you hit your numbers, because especially if you're a guy, if your protein number is somewhere around the range of 1.5 grams per pound of body weight, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. If it's sorry, that's my ringtone. Damn. A lot of times you're gonna have trouble hitting your number for protein, and whey protein is just a simple, quick, easy way to hit your number, or to help you get closer to that number. It's not gonna replace food, obviously, but it's useful. Next thing that I take is Optimum Serious Mass. This is a weight gainer, and I kind of have to say that I don't recommend that most people take this, because especially if you're not tracking your macros, taking something like this that's very calorie dense, it makes it easy to go into a very, very large caloric surplus and to get really fat really fast. I have first-hand experience. If you see my transformation video, or if you haven't seen it, go check it out. That first kind of bulking phase, or off-season, whatever you want to call it, when I got up to 211 pounds and I was super obese, this is one of the main reasons why. I was taking all kinds of Serious Mass all day, every day. And I mean, check it out. A serving of Serious Mass is 334 grams, which is 2 scoops. A scoop is about this big. It's like 2 scoops of that, and a single serving is 1,250 calories. So in order to use this effectively in my diet now, because I mean, it is useful, especially if you have carbs that are super high. Like for me right now, I'm eating 540 carbs a day, and the number is still going up as I slowly sort of reverse. So 540 carbs, a lot of the time at the end of the day, I have a lot of carbs left, and drinking Serious Mass helps me hit my numbers. But the way that I do it is, I actually only use 40 grams at a time. So a serving for me, rather than 334 grams, is actually only 40 grams. And if you calculate the nutrition for 40 grams, it's, that's my roommate. It's only 30 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fat, or 6 grams of protein, and half a gram of fat, I think. So this is useful for helping you hit your numbers for carbs if your caloric intake is super high like mine. Otherwise, I would say stay away from it. Although, I do have to say, guys, this is really, really cheap. This is, I think, this is 12 pounds, or I think it's like $44. So that's really cheap. So it's a cheap, simple source of carbs that'll help you hit your numbers, just like whey. Next thing, creatine. This is just creatine monohydrate, again from Optimum Nutrition. Creatine, a lot of people say ridiculous things about it. Like, I've had people tell me that they got acne or they got gynecomastia from creatine. For those of you that don't know, gynecomastia is a side effect of steroids or pro-hormones. Basically what it means is in men, gynecomastia is the growth of female breast tissue. You see that a lot in like guys that are abusing steroids or guys that are using steroids in like the iifbb, NPC, stuff like that. But those are not side effects associated with creatine. In fact, I don't know of any side effects of creatine other than the fact that it's easy to be dehydrated. So if you're taking creatine, make sure you get enough water. Other than that, I'm not going to get into the science of it too much. Unless you guys want me to, I can make another video later on. But basically what creatine does is it increases the amount of available energy stored in your muscles so that when you go to work out, you might be able to last maybe an extra rep or 2 or 3, maybe move a little bit more weight. But you have to understand, keep in mind guys, that creatine works at a microscopic level, so whatever difference it makes probably isn't going to be that big. The reason that I take creatine, despite my skepticism, is that creatine is really cheap. Like, I think I got this whole thing for like maybe 15 bucks, and this is 228 servings for $15. So that's a good deal. So I guess if you have extra money and you want to try creatine, go ahead and try it. But it's definitely not something that you need. Next thing, I take a multivitamin. This is Optimum from Optimum Nutrition. So this is like the men's version of their multivitamin. The reason that I take a multivitamin is, I mean, unless you have very easy access to fruits and vegetables like all day, every day, then there's a good chance that you're going to be deficient in at least one or more vitamins and minerals. So taking something like this helps to fill that gap, make sure you're not in poor health, I guess. Especially when you're dieting down. There's a lot of times when you're dieting down that it might be hard to fit in all the fruits and vegetables that you need. So taking something like this will help you fill those gaps, make sure you're not vitamin deficient. One thing I'll say, guys, is that if you compare something like this, if you compare the label of something like this, something like One A Day Men's, I'm not knocking One A Day Men's. I used to take those because they're cheap. But if you compare the label, it's really a world of difference. So just be careful when you're buying a multivitamin. If you're trying to save money, I understand that. But just be sure that you're getting what you pay for, or you're getting what you think you're paying for. Next thing, I take CLA. CLA is conjugated linoleic acid, which is a fancy way of saying it's like healthy fat. CLA is supposed to be a stimulant-free fat burner. That's another claim that I don't know how valid it is, but it's a good source of healthy fats, and if it's going to help me burn fat, that's cool too. I don't always take CLA. I'll either take CLA or some other kind of healthy fat, so like fish oil or, well, that's about the other one I take. But yeah, I take one or the other, just as a source of fat. This is another one of those things, like, it's good to have a healthy source of fat, but you don't absolutely need it. So if you're tight on money, don't need this. If you want to try it and you have extra money, go ahead. Next thing on the list is ZMA. This is from Now Sports. I get it from Now just because, like I said before, it's cheap. And Now is a big enough company that I trust their quality control. ZMA, it's supposed to optimize healthy hormone levels in men and women too, but it's mostly for men, I think. All it is really is a combination of zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B6. And the idea is that it's supposed to maximize testosterone production with like a special ratio of zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B6. This is another one of those things, I don't know how valid that claim is. One thing I know for sure is that this helps me sleep, and a lot of other people notice that too. So if you have trouble sleeping, this might help you. It's also not that expensive. And one more thing is that both of these, the CLA and the ZMA, any kind of healthy fats along with ZMA, if you're dieting down and your fats are low, you know that your hormone function is not going to be optimal. So stuff like that, your ZMA and your fatty acids or whatever, that can sort of help to combat unhealthy hormone function. So it'll keep you as optimal as you can be while you diet down. Then next thing, I take branched chain amino acids. This is from ProLab. These are just pills. I know they also come in powder, so like you get like Scivation Extend, something like that. Basically, both of them are just to make sure that you don't break down your muscles while you're working out, or during extended periods of time when you don't have food. But this is another one of those things, I don't know how well it works. I know there's a bunch of research out there. Like if you look at Lane Norton's research, he makes a few claims. I mean, he backs that up with solid evidence that branched chain amino acids do make a difference. So this is definitely something you can try, but another one of those things that you don't necessarily need. So yeah. Next thing on the list, next thing on the list, I need to change my ringtone. But yeah, glutamine. This is ProLab glutamine. I'm actually not taking this one yet. This is still unopened. Right now I'm taking All American EFX. I think it's called Glutasorb. Same thing, but this is what it looks like if you guys are wondering. It's a little blue pill. Basically, glutamine is supposed to help you recover and possibly not be as sore from your workouts. Like I said before, it's another one of those things that I don't know how valid the claim is. The only reason I take glutamine and BCAAs, both of these, the only reason I'm taking either of these is because I got them for free. And the way that works is that if you compete in a drug-free organization, especially like the nanbf, I mean, that's the only one I can say for sure because that's the only organization I've competed in. A lot of the times, sponsors will give you free stuff. So for most competitors, they give like free t-shirts, free samples. But the cool thing is if you win your class, they give you like a bag of products. So like you get full-size products. Like this is a full-size thing of branched chain amino acids from ProLab, full-size glutamine. I think I've also got a pre-workout from ProLab. I've gotten, and this is just from this past season, I've gotten, so 3 things from ProLab. I got Cellucor C4, I got Cellucor HD, I've got Cellucor CLK, and I've got one other, I think it was like a diuretic from Cellucor. And I also got Magnum Opus from, I think it's called Magnum Nutraceuticals. That's also a pre-workout. The only thing about that is getting free stuff. Like, let me just say, I gotta give a shout out to ProLab, Magnum Nutraceuticals, Cellucor, and what was the last one? Oh, All American EFX. Because at a lot of the contests that I've been to, they've always been sponsors, and I think it's great that they're supporting drug-free bodybuilding. But the thing about getting free supplements is that a lot of the stuff that I get, I don't really use. So like diuretics, pre-workout stimulants, fat burners, things like that, I don't generally use. So I either give them away or sell them for really cheap. But yeah, it's cool that I can get stuff like that. The last thing I want to talk about is brands. I mean, I talked a little bit about this before, but like you notice, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of my supplements that I take are from Optimum Nutrition. The reason that I get it from Optimum, rather than other brands, is because Optimum is one of the very few companies that, by the way, I'm not sponsored, I'm not affiliated with Optimum. I wish I was, but I'm not. But it's one of the very few companies that they sell their products for a very good price. They don't make ridiculous claims on their labels of like, you're going to gain 6 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks or anything like that. They don't have proprietary blends, anything like that. I don't think any of their supplements have ever been banned. And I mean, they're just very, very transparent. Like, they don't ever try to like claim that their product is better than another because of some secret ingredient that they have. You'll notice a lot of supplement companies do things like that. They'll have a proprietary blend, which is basically just an excuse for them to put in whatever they want without telling you what's going in and how much is going in. And there's other companies that'll have like a picture of like a iifym pro endorsing their product, which is cool, but it's sort of misleading because, especially like younger kids, they'll probably think that if they take like a certain company's whey protein, then they'll end up looking like Ronnie Coleman. And like I said, guys, it's just not true. But I think for supplements, as far as they go, that's about it. That's all I take. And in fact, a lot of the things that I take now, I probably won't continue taking just because if I'm not getting some of these things for free, then I'm not going to take them at all. But that's what I take, guys. I hope this is sort of helpful or interesting for you. But that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Bye.